All right, it's 5 o'clock. We'll call this month's meeting of the Board of Adjustment to order. First item is approval of the minutes.
Motion to accept.
Got a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
On new business, special exception to allow 5-foot four side yard setback.
Alrighty, I think the presentation, yay. Okay, it's working, good deal. So this is in addition to a non-conforming structure and a special exception located at 328 South Denver. The existing conditions, this is located within the Old Town neighborhood. It's an existing single-family home. The property is zoned R3, and it's surrounded by R3 and C2 zoned properties. Surrounding properties include single-family homes and a church. So during our review, staff has found that the applicant has demonstrated that special conditions exist as the home was built well before the current zoning code went into effect. It is not the intent of the zoning code to prohibit property owners to make additions to their home. And then in Article 9.3.3, there is specific direction regarding special exceptions, and Article 5 under that says that you can vary the requirements contained in the area requirements table in Article 12 by no more than 10% of the numerical standard when it can be demonstrated that such action will not be harmful to the public welfare. Such actions shall not be deemed variances as described in Article 9.3.2. So the proposed addition is 5.4 feet away from the side property line, where the area requirements require 6 feet. So they are varying by no more than 10%, and therefore the addition is considered a special exception. The addition will not be any closer to the side property line than the existing carport. It is staff's recommendation. I apologize that it says denial. I thought I fixed that. Approval of this application as a result of the findings below, that the house was built over lot lines. The home was built before the current zoning code went into effect. The proposed additions to the home vary from the area requirements by 10%. The applicant has met all other variance requirements, and we are asking for the condition that they do submit an incidental subdivision application prior to building permit issuance, and that be finalized prior to certificate of occupancy. And that is because it's built over lot lines. And then that is my staff report. Any questions?
Do you want to have any questions?
I'll
Mr.
move.
Gardis, do you want to speak? I think we've got a...
So when we started the project, Kent had HTW, the architects, work on it, and he was going to put the covered patio in line with the back of the carport. But as you project that out from that point, as you can see, the house is not square with the property. It's at an angle. It put it way too close to the property line, even though there was some separation. So we discussed it and we talked about it and said, well, you know, I think we need to pull it back. And so we did that. We pulled it back to where at least we could ask for the 10%. Didn't feel comfortable that we would get a variance for anything greater than that, but a 10% would work, and we talked to the staff about it as well. So that's why we pulled it back, and it still works. So we pulled the canopy or the roof line back, and then he's just going to go ahead and leave his grill and stuff exposed on the other side, which doesn't have to have a requirement because it's just a grill.
And you're not comfortable with the other requirement that they've suggested?
Yeah, that's okay with this one.
All right.
One thing we do want to add, though, we were discussing it, is when he remodels the garage itself, it doesn't meet the setback code, and so to remodel that and to add, what he's going to do is he wants to match the roof line of the house. As he comes out, the breezeway is going to come out from the house, and it's going to have a roof line that's going to match that, and then it's going to turn and match with the garage that's there. And so it's going to be higher, and then that will be a storage space underneath that. But to do that, we have to have permission from the Board of Adjustments to make a modification to a non-conforming structure. And so we're adding that if possible. And of course, you can talk to Sarah and Victoria, see if they're okay with it.
Okay.
Staff has no objection with it
Thank you.
Mhm.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to grant the request with additional stipulations and an additional request for the non-conforming structure. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir. Moving to item 2, variance for sorry about that. Variance for a fence height, 2303 Timberwood Lane.
Yes, sir. So very similar to what we saw last month, except this fence does encompass the front yard. It's not just along the side front yard. So this is a variance from the fence height requirement located at 2303 Timberwood Lane. Existing conditions, this is located within the Oakland neighborhood. It's an existing single-family home. The property is zoned R3 and it's surrounded by R3 zoned properties. Surrounding properties include single-family homes and a cemetery. So the application is to allow a 5-foot fence in the front yard. The fence was constructed in 2020 without a building permit. The applicant had indicated that the company that they hired said they were going to pull a permit and did not end up pulling a permit. In July of this year, City of Russellville Code Enforcement received a complaint regarding the fence. At that point in time, the applicant was asked to apply for a building permit for the fence, and the height issue was brought to staff's attention. Since the variance application was applied for, staff has received an additional complaint citing the fence as an eyesore. The applicant has cited the reason for their special conditions were their 2 dogs, and they stated the fence height is to ensure the dogs cannot easily be stolen, as they are expensive dogs, and to ensure that the dogs cannot easily jump over the fence. Staff has not found that the applicant has demonstrated special conditions exist, as there is room in the backyard for a 6-foot fence, and from what we can tell, there is already a 6-foot privacy fence closing off that backyard portion that would allow for a 6-foot fence. This concern for dog safety is not just for their property. This could be applicable to other lands. The granting of this variance is not a variance allowing reasonable use of the land, just as last month reasonable use of the land would be development of the property where a residential structure has already been built, and the granting of this variance is not in harmony with the purpose and intent of the code, as it is not the intent of the code to allow a 5-foot fence within the front yard setback. And this is for, again, issues of vision clearance, aesthetic reasons, and safety issues. So staff does recommend denial of this application as a result of the findings that the applicant has not demonstrated that special conditions exist. The granting of this variance is not in harmony with the purpose and intent of the zoning code, and the granting of this variance is not a variance allowing reasonable use of the land. And that is my staff report.
Thank you. And there's somebody in the audience that would like to speak to this.
First, I want to say, we do have a privacy fence in our backyard. We cannot put our English Bulldog back there because he eats the house. And I mean, we have little spots here and there where he is.
Would you state your name for the record, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, Penelope Fisher. And our Bulldog we have spots where the dog has actually ate part of the siding off of the house because it's wood siding and he likes to chew. That's part of the reason we have the fence up front, because of the English Bulldog. And of course, we have a French Bulldog that can jump over 43 inches height, which I know is y'all's standard limit. And I've looked up several articles that do state that from a standing start, they can jump that high. I've had my French Bulldog in the yard when I'm talking to somebody across the fence, and he will jump right up to the height of that 5-foot fence. So, there's very good reasons for that there. And then our dogs are part of our family. We don't want them to get out and get ran over or hurt somebody, not intentionally. They would never hurt anybody intentionally. But they are big dogs, and they could run into a little kid and knock them down, and they have nearly knocked me over several times just running. And You know, we do want to keep our dogs for as long as we possibly can, so we want to try to protect them. That's the main thing there. And our breeder the breeder that we got the dogs from did state that the French Bulldog does need a higher fence than what is limited by the city of Russellville. Y'all should have her letter somewhere. I sent it over to y'all. Yeah, so you should have her letter there along with pictures of our dogs.
Okay.
And, you know, there are several other neighbors that do have fences as high or higher than ours in Russellville that we have seen. So,
In the front yard.
in the front yard, yes, there's one just down the street from us. They have a big German Shepherd out there, and their fence is just as high as ours.
Do you have anything else to add?
I just want to say that, you know, we did not know that the fencing company did not get the variance or the permits or whatever was needed. When they put the fence in, I asked him, do I need to go get these variances or permits or whatever? He said, no, we would take care of that. That was B&B Fencing Company, and we assumed he would do what he said he would do because we paid him to put that fence up.
Who was the fence installer?
B&B.
And I understand there have been a couple of complaints or filings with code enforcement about the fence.
Yes, sir. There was the original complaint, which brought this in to get a building permit originally, and then when notice was sent out as part of the variance request, we did receive an additional call, and at that time is when we got the eyesore complaint. So two is what we've gotten. We didn't really get any other response besides those two.
Oh, I do want to say that we do live on a dead-end street. I mean, there's only one house behind us, and nobody lives in that house. So,
Well, they showed a picture of it.
What's the required setback for that type of fence?
So the required setback for a 6-foot fence or higher than 3.5 feet would be 25 feet back from your property line. If it was 3.5 feet, which is the allotted height in a front yard, it has to be 10 feet back from the back of curb.
And it's not either, is it?
I don't believe so. Can I see it again? Yeah, absolutely. It's that bottom right picture.
not the newer code enforcement officer, but the older code enforcement officer said that he would not do the setback, was not part of the thing. All we needed was to get the height allowed.
All right.
And I understand that there may be other fences that don't meet the height requirement. My concern is this is the one that's in front of us.
So is that a motion to deny?
No, it's a statement of fact.
Okay. Do we have any motions?
Have you contacted the fence company and told them that you're having this issue with the city over the fact they didn't get a permit? Have you talked to this fence company?
No, I have not talked to the fence company. They're quite hard to get a hold of.
I'll make a motion to deny this fence until we get it up to code.
We have a motion and a second to deny. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So will you get with her and, I said we denied that, will you work the rest of the details out on that? Yes. All right, thank you. Item number 3 is a variance on a 9-foot ceiling height and a 12-foot minimum for the College Hill zone.
Yes. So this is a variance from the ceiling height requirement at 112 and 114 West H Street. So this is located within the El Paso Mixed Use District. The property right now contains 2 older homes. The property is zoned College Hill Zone. It's surrounded by College Hill Zone and C2 zoned properties. Surrounding properties include a mix of residential and commercial uses such as a gas station, bank, and the police department. Oh, there we go. So the property owner is proposing to build a 3-unit townhouse development, which you will see the site plan and the elevations up on the screen. The applicant is requesting a 3-foot variance to the first floor ceiling height requirement. Staff has found that the applicant has demonstrated that special conditions exist, as the intent of the regulation was meant for mixed use or commercial development. And this regulation is being addressed as part of the comprehensive updates to the Russellville zoning code that the Planning Commission will be hearing the first public hearing tonight. Under the new recommended zoning code, the allowance for first floor ceiling height within this district would be 9 feet, which is what the applicant is proposing for residential uses. Therefore, the proposed development would be in compliance under the new proposed code. So staff does recommend approval of this application as a result of the findings that the intent of this regulation was meant for mixed use or commercial development. The proposed development would be in compliance under the new proposed code, and the applicant has met all other variance requirements, and that is my staff report. Any questions?
I don't think so, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Garza, do you have anything to add? Do we have a motion?
I'll move to accept as presented.
Second?
Got a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. There's no other business. We're adjourned. Thank you.